High above the world, where clouds cradle palaces of marble and gold, there lived a goddess whose wisdom could shape destiny itself. Her name was Metis, Titaness of deep thought, counselor to kings, guide of immortal minds. And it is here, on radiant Olympus, where our story begins, beneath the surface of power, under the heartbeat of fear. But before we continue, if you find this story fascinating, remember to like the video at the end, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more mythic storytelling. It truly helps this channel grow. Thank you. While songs of glory echo through the heavens, something stirs, something ancient, something whispered before time etched the first sunrise. A prophecy, a warning, a thread of fate woven long ago by the old earth itself. Metis was unlike the others. Her power lay not in thunder or fire or war, but in perception. She did not conquer landscapes, she navigated the mind. Where others clashed, she observed. Where they boasted, she considered. Wisdom was both her shield and her spear. Yet even wisdom can place someone in the path of danger. Long ago, before Zeus rose to power, the ancient primordials Gaia and Uranus spoke of a future child born from Metis, a child not only wise, but stronger than Zeus himself, mightier, capable of ruling the heavens beyond thunder and storm, a prophecy that could tilt Olympus. It began as a murmur beneath the earth, a thread of fate passing from whisper to whisper. No thunder split the sky, no war raged, only a quiet truth carried like wind through eternity. Metis shall bear offspring greater than the king of gods. Zeus, ruler of the skies, lord of justice and order, reigned with brilliance. But beneath that brilliance lived a memory that rattled him like distant thunder, his father, Kronos, devouring his own children in fear of being replaced. Zeus had escaped that fate. He rose, rebelled, overthrew, and became lord of all. Yet the shadow of inheritance never left him. You see, the throne of Olympus is not built of marble alone. It is carved from rivalry, prophecy, and paranoia. When the rumor reached Zeus, soft at first, like wings brushing stone, it struck deeper than any spear. A child mightier than he? A future that could dethrone him? The throne he fought to claim, the legacy he bled to preserve. Unease settled over him like storm clouds gathering over calm seas. Zeus admired Metis, trusted her counsel. Some say he even loved her for the wisdom she carried, was gentle, sharp, unshakable. Yet love bends beneath fear, and fear can twist even gods into desperate shape. Imagine him there, on his throne of crackling power, watching her speak with effortless grace among immortals. She moved like the quiet before rain. Every decision she shaped carried precision. She was respected, sought after, valued, and with each passing moment, Zeus felt the prophecy like a weight upon his chest. If Metis bore a child, his child, that child could surpass him. A future where thunder obeyed another. A world where Zeus was remembered as only a chapter, not the culmination. Gods may be immortal, but they are not immune to doubt. Inside Zeus stirred a storm of thought. Could he stop fate? Should he trust destiny? Or must he act first, decisively, ruthlessly, to preserve his reign? This is where our story builds its tension, not in battlefields of metal and blood, but in the battlefield of mind and prophecy. A king poised against the future, a goddess carrying unknowable possibility, a whisper threatening to become thunder. Gaia, the Earth Mother, had seen gods rise and crumble like dust. She knew Zeus, for she bore the world that cradled his throne. She had spoken the prophecy not with malice, but with truth. Fate was a river, unstoppable, unchanging. Yet Zeus believed he could dam its path. Meanwhile, Metis herself, wise though she was, did not yet know how deeply the prophecy had taken root in Zeus's mind. She walked Olympus unaware of the growing storm behind every glance. She saw not a threat, but a partner, a king she advised with care and cleverness. Some say she sensed destiny shifting beneath her. Some say she dreamed of a child radiant with purpose. Some say wisdom itself stirred in her belly long before life did. And still Zeus watched. For a ruler built upon triumph, the greatest enemy is not war. It is the thought of losing what has been won. A prophecy is small on the surface, but to Zeus it was a seed of panic that grew roots of obsession. He began to wonder, if Metis held wisdom enough to counsel gods, might she guide their child beyond his power, beyond Olympus? If the child surpassed him, what then? Would history repeat? Would Zeus fall as Kronos fell? His fear was not madness, it was memory. The cycle haunted Zeus. He had changed fate once before. He believed he could do it again. And so tension stretched between them, unspoken, unseen, but inevitable. The king of gods, powerful yet insecure, the goddess of wisdom, radiant yet vulnerable. The prophecy hanging like lightning before it strikes. The future trembles like thunder on the horizon. Stay tuned as we uncover what Zeus decides next, how prophecy becomes desperation, how wisdom becomes entrapment, and how the birth of Athena reshapes Olympus forever.
Thunder rolls like a heartbeat over Olympus. Inside his grand hall, Zeus walks in restless circles, each footstep followed by the crack of distant storm. Power surrounds him, golden throne, crackling scepter, walls veined with lightning. But power feels thin tonight. It feels fragile, like ice beneath flame. The prophecy has taken root. It grows inside his thoughts like a vine that grips, tightens, refuses release. A child greater than him, a child born from wisdom itself, Metis, his equal in mind, potentially his surpasser in legacy. Zeus has faced armies and monsters, titans and chaos, but nothing is more dangerous to a ruler than an unseen threat, a future with his throne claimed by another. The thought claws at him with invisible hands. He tries to command calm. He has ruled the skies, commanded storms, shaped justice. But fear winds through him like cold wind between pillars. Not fear of battle, fear of losing everything he built, fear of repeating the very cycle that crowned him, because Zeus knows what power can do. He remembers the old king. He remembers Kronos. Once Zeus was a child hidden in a cave. The world above trembled under a different ruler. Kronos sat upon the throne with dread in his heart, told by prophecy that his children would one day rise against him. And like a shadow swallowing sun, Kronos acted. In fear he consumed his offspring one by one, so none could challenge him. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, all swallowed, all silenced. Not out of hate, but terror. And Zeus escaped only because his mother, Rhea, hid him away, because one child survived to end the cycle, because fate, once spoken, bends the world in ways no god can fully stop. Zeus rose against his father, freed the swallowed gods, brought the Titans to defeat, and took the heavens as his own. But victory does not remove history. It echoes, it warns, it waits. Now Zeus walks that same threshold as Kronos once did. Thunder cracks so violently, the marble trembles. Zeus grips the arm of his throne, lightning crawling across his skin. He tries to breathe deeply, but the air feels heavy like clouds before a downpour. He loved Metis, perhaps more than he admits even to himself. She guided him, sharpened his decisions, steadied him when arrogance clouded his sight. Her wisdom made him stronger, yet the very thing he admired has become the axis of dread. A child of Metis could surpass him. A child of Metis could perfect what Zeus began, could lead with wisdom rather than might, could rule with strategy instead of lightning. Would the world accept such a ruler? Would the gods? Would the prophecy demand it? Clouds gather like an army, each one a reflection of Zeus's growing paranoia. He looks out over the kingdom he shaped, mountains crowned in snow, oceans glittering like silver, a horizon endless and bright. It is a world built with victory and held by thunder. He cannot imagine losing it. He stands perfectly still, a single god locked between love and fear. He remembers Kronos again, not as a tyrant, but as a frightened king, desperate to hold his throne. He understands him now. He sees himself in that past like a shadow on a mirrored surface, and that reflection terrifies him more than any titan ever could. Is this how it happens? A prophecy spoken, a fear awakened, a cycle tightening like a storm ring around Olympus. He does not want to become his father, and yet every thought he has pushes him closer to Kronos' footsteps. Zeus whispers to the air, barely sound at all, asking the wind if destiny can be undone. His voice trembles for the first time in ages. He asks whether wisdom and prophecy can be silenced, whether the future can be cut away like a branch before it bears fruit. He does not know the answer, but fear makes one thing clear: doing nothing is not an option. His mind storms harder than the skies themselves. Each memory of Kronos is a warning, each thought of Metis a temptation toward change. The cycle could repeat unless he stops it, unless he is decisive, unless he acts. Power is a throne with no rest, and the higher the throne, the heavier the crown. This is where gods break, where destiny tests resolve, where love is weighed against legacy. Zeus clenches his fists. The storm outside responds. Lightning splits the sky like a scream. He knows what he must consider next, not with joy, not with hatred, but with the cold logic of a threatened king. A decision is forming, dark, irreversible, fateful. He takes one final breath, and in that breath resides the entire dilemma of a god. Protect the future or protect the throne. The prophecy stands like a blade at his back. Metis stands like dawn before sunrise, and Zeus stands between them, heart divided, mind trembling. The storm has only begun.
Morning arrives like silk across Olympus. The storm of doubt has not vanished, only hidden beneath the brightness. Zeus stands in the sunlight, wearing a calm expression that masks the thunder still crawling beneath his thoughts. Today, he has made a choice, one born from fear, polished with charm, wrapped in deception. He seeks Metis not as a partner to celebrate the day with, but as a danger he must contain. Metis moves like wisdom made flesh, graceful, aware, yet unthreatened. She has no suspicion of betrayal. Her thoughts are filled with guidance, not caution.
She believes Zeus values her counsel, and he does. Too much. Enough that her brilliance terrifies him. As Zeus approaches her, the air hums with tension unseen. His eyes carry storms, but his voice is gentle. He speaks soft words of affection, praise layered like honey. He recalls times when she guided him, when she steadied Olympus, when her mind saved gods from ruin. He bathes her in trust, because trust softens even the sharpest mind. For a moment, Metis blushes with pride. Her wisdom has always been her gift, and Zeus, king of gods, speaks now with admiration. She does not see the shadow behind the admiration, the fear behind the fondness. Zeus laughs lightly and suggests a playful idea, a game of transformation, something they once shared in gentler times. Shape-shifting was Metis' delight. She could become bird or breeze, river or whisper. Her talent was endless. He encourages her to show him something small, something agile, a creature tiny enough to hide from even the keenest eye. It sounds like innocent curiosity. It is not. With grace, Metis agrees. She believes she is safe. She believes the world beneath Zeus's throne is secure. She has no reason to fear him, not yet. Light wraps around her form like a cocoon of gold. Her shape shifts, shrinking, wings forming, body delicate and bright. In seconds, she is no larger than a fly, darting through sunbeams like a spark born from morning. Zeus watches her with admiration that twists into regret, then hardens into resolve. In the space of a heartbeat, he acts. He opens his mouth and draws in breath, not gently, but with purpose. The wind bends. Metis, tiny as she is pulled toward him. She flutters once, twice, confused, startled, and then disappears into the darkness of the King of Gods. He swallows. The hall returns to stillness, yet something irreversible has occurred. Zeus has consumed the goddess of wisdom, his companion, his counselor, the mother of the child he fears. He stands motionless, staring at the space where she once hovered, his face a mix of triumph, sorrow, and something colder. He believes he has stopped destiny. He believes the prophecy dissolves now within him, buried forever. But the world knows better. Wisdom cannot be destroyed. It adapts. Metis is not gone. She is living thought, living insight. Within Zeus, she becomes voice, whisper, dream. Her mind does not weaken, it roots itself deeper. Her brilliance flows through him like river water through stone. In swallowing Metis, Zeus has not escaped fate. He has merged with it. He carries the one thing he feared most, not outside his reach, but inside his very core. Wisdom is now part of him, unending, uncontained, a prisoner and a guide both, a presence he cannot silence no matter how he tries. He feels movement beneath his ribs, not pain, but pressure, a mind awakening beneath his own. Metis speaks through silence, shaping thoughts he cannot ignore. Her unborn child pulses with potential, a spark of divine intellect waiting to ignite. Zeus walks forward with heavy steps. The throne room feels too small, the ceiling too low. His own body now carries the seed of a future he tried to prevent. He is powerful, yet powerless to undo what he has done.
What is swallowed becomes part of the devourer. What is feared becomes destiny. What is hidden becomes birth. Outside, thunder begins again, not as chaos, but as prophecy awakened. Olympus senses the shift. The air thickens with divine tension. A king has betrayed his closest ally, attempting to choke prophecy at its root. Instead, he has become the vessel for prophecy itself. The tragedy is twofold. Zeus has won nothing. Metis has lost everything, except her brilliance. Within the god who feared her, she remains, no longer free, yet not defeated. Her voice becomes conscience, strategy, quiet power. She watches the world from behind thunder, waiting for the moment her child will step into existence, armed, brilliant, unstoppable. Power has a cost, and wisdom, true wisdom, sometimes comes only through sorrow.
Inside the body of Zeus, a storm rages unlike any the heavens have seen. Not outside, but within, a tempest of thought, of fear, of destiny taking form. Each bolt of lightning that cracks across the sky mirrors the tension in his mind. Pain thrums through him like the pulse of creation itself. This is no ordinary suffering. It is prophecy manifesting in flesh and thought. The goddess he swallowed, Metis, has begun her work inside him. Not defeated, not silent, but shaping the future within the storm of his own being. Metis moves like a master sculptor, crafting the armor of the child she carries. Each thought is a hammer strike, each pulse of power a shaping of divine metal. Within Zeus's mind, she builds not just protection, but identity. Athena, unborn yet alive, takes form in brilliance, her intellect and strength woven into the very fibers of her being. Zeus staggers. His hands clutch his head as lightning flashes, each strike sending searing pain through his skull. The sky roars in sympathy, or perhaps in warning. He has never felt power like this, never endured the weight of creation inside himself. The god of thunder feels every heartbeat of the child within him. Every thought of Metis resonates like a drum of war. He realizes, in sudden clarity, that what he tried to suppress cannot be silenced. Destiny has grown roots inside him. Wisdom he thought he devoured is alive, building, guiding. Athena's mind works as fast as Zeus's pain. Metis teaches her not only strategy and cunning, but the lessons of gods and mortals alike. Every concept, every pattern, every plan is passed down from mother to child. She is learning even before she sees the world, even before she draws breath. Pain twists Zeus's mouth into a grimace. He stumbles, the scepter quivering in his hand. He feels the thunder of the universe as a reflection of his own inner turmoil. Lightning flashes, illuminating the swirling golden figure of Athena within, the armor taking shape, the helmet forming, the shield waiting. Every strike of pain is a step closer to revelation. The heavens themselves tremble. Olympus senses what is coming. A birth unlike any other is about to occur. Not a child in the arms of a mother, but a goddess emerging from the storm of a king. Prophecy approaches fulfillment, unstoppable as the tide. Zeus's anguish peaks. He groans as though the universe itself presses down. And then, with force beyond comprehension, the moment arrives. The pain explodes, sharp and blinding. Hephaestus, god of the forge and the hammer, perceives the impossibility of the moment. Guided by Athena's insistence and the wisdom of Metis, he lifts his hammer and strikes precisely upon Zeus's head. The force resonates like thunder, cracking the storm open. And there she is, Athena, fully formed, fully armed,
stepping into the light as if the heavens themselves had given birth to her. Helmet gleaming, shield in hand, spear poised, eyes burning with intellect and command. Every bolt of wisdom Metis had poured into her now radiates outward, unstoppable and brilliant. The storm within and without collapses into silence. Zeus drops to his knees, both exhausted and relieved. He feels the absence of weight inside him, but also the presence of power beyond anything he imagined. Athena's birth is both victory and revelation, not just for her, but for the prophecy, for Metis, and for Olympus itself. She is the embodiment of wisdom, strategy, and courage. Every lesson her mother had taught her, every strategy, every counsel flows in her veins, and yet she is uniquely herself, an entity born from devotion, betrayal, and the storm of a god's mind. Zeus realizes, as does Olympus, that the child he feared has become a force of balance. Wisdom cannot be contained, nor power controlled through fear alone. In swallowing Metis, he thought he could prevent the future, but the future was never something he could hold. It had to be born, even through pain. Athena steps forward, and the world shifts. Every god, every mortal, every corner of creation senses the arrival of a new age. The brilliance of her mind, forged in the trials of secrecy and storm, shines brighter than lightning, fiercer than thunder, sharper than any weapon. The heavens have witnessed the impossible, a goddess born not from womb alone, but from thought, fear, and divine will. Metis's wisdom lives on, intertwined with her daughter's every decision. Zeus has survived, but transformed. The devourer and the devoured now share the same breath, the same destiny. This is a birth of power and mind, a birth of insight, strategy, and vision. Athena stands as testament to what cannot be destroyed. The prophecy is fulfilled, not in defiance of fear, but because of it.
The storm has passed. Silence falls across Olympus, heavier than any battle cry. Every god, titan, and immortal watches as Athena stands at the center, fully formed, fully armed, her gaze steady and unyielding. In this moment, she is more than a goddess, she is a symbol. A spark of wisdom reborn from fear, betrayal, and the storm of a king. Zeus, once trembling under the weight of prophecy, now looks upon Athena not with suspicion, but with understanding. He sees what he has feared most, a power equal to his own. And yet, unlike the cycles of his past, there is no violence. There is no devouring, no destruction. Instead, there is inheritance. Wisdom has entered his realm, not as a rival, but as a partner. For the first time in eons, the King of Gods accepts that true strength does not come from erasure of others, but from shared power. He acknowledges the brilliance of Metis's legacy, channeled through her daughter, and recognizes that fear alone cannot preserve a throne. To maintain dominion, one must guide, not crush. To rule wisely, one must embrace counsel, even if it challenges the crown. Athena embodies this truth. She is strategy made flesh, justice made visible, intellect made action. Her every move carries thought, her every word carries insight. Olympus realizes that the future does not belong solely to the King of Gods. It belongs to those who wield wisdom alongside power. The shift is subtle, yet profound. The cycle of overthrow, the fear that drove Kronos to devour his children, the anxiety that pushed Zeus toward betrayal, all of it ends here. Through acceptance, foresight, and courage, the heavens have learned that power need not be hoarded. It can be guided. It can be shared. It can shape a legacy rather than destroy one. She teaches by example, showing that intellect and courage are inseparable. In her, strategy meets morality, thought meets action. Mortals and immortals alike will look to her as patron of cities, protector of heroes, and guide in times of uncertainty.
Through her, wisdom becomes living influence, steering the world toward balance rather than chaos. Zeus reflects on the journey that brought them here: fear, deception, and the consumption of counsel. He sees clearly now that each choice, even the darkest, carries consequences. In his attempt to suppress destiny, he became part of it. In swallowing Metis, he thought he had gained security. Instead, he gained insight. And through insight, the cycle of destruction was broken. The legacy that emerges is not born of tyranny or paranoia. It is born of collaboration. Fear may ignite conflict, but wisdom tempers it. Power, when guided by intellect and strategy, creates stability, not only for Olympus, but for the mortal world below. Athena represents this balance. She is the living bridge between prophecy and reality, between fear and foresight. Athena will become a symbol for generations, heroes seeking counsel, city-states seeking justice, minds seeking clarity. Her presence reminds all that knowledge cannot be devoured, cannot be destroyed. Wisdom once born cannot be unmade. And when paired with the restraint of those in power, it transforms destiny. Zeus, now reconciled with his fears, realizes that rule is not about dominance alone. It is about fostering intelligence, embracing foresight, and guiding future generations. The weight of the crown is lighter when tempered by understanding, and Olympus thrives, not because one god reigns, but because wisdom flows freely through those who choose to protect it. Athena's rise marks the end of an era of fear and the beginning of one defined by balance. The heavens understand that leadership built on paranoia collapses under its own weight, while leadership guided by insight endures. In the shadow of what could have been a tragedy, a new order has emerged, measured, fair, unstoppable in intellect, and unwavering in purpose. This is the lesson of their story. Fear may provoke rash decisions, betrayal may shape destiny, but wisdom, true wisdom, reshapes it for the better. The cycle of overthrow, of suspicion and insecurity, can be broken. Legacy, when guided by intellect and courage, can inspire gods and mortals alike. Athena stands as the embodiment of insight, strategy, and justice. Zeus accepts that power is not diminished by the brilliance of another, it is enhanced. Together they demonstrate that wisdom can transform conflict into guidance, fear into foresight, and chaos into enduring legacy. And for those who want to explore more epic tales of gods, heroes, and the forces that shape destiny, make sure to stay connected with the channel. Hit the subscribe button and follow along for stories that unravel the secrets of myth, power, and legacy. There is always another tale waiting, another lesson to uncover, and another vision of history brought vividly to life.